Well, Chase, it is a big weekend. We've got the big game coming up. And what can we expect going into this weekend as far as the weather?
Well, we're looking at some more of the atmospheric river, or at least the return of some of these cloudier conditions, maybe a little bit of rain, but some pretty cooperative temperatures with that right now. We're seeing a lot of that cloud cover continue to push over the Concho Valley, and that's kind of been the early indications of that atmospheric river. But it's moving too fast. We're not really seeing a lot of precipitation. Again, we're still on the drier side across the entire Concho Valley. Of course, seeing the tail end of some of this frontal system, but you can really see where the clouds are starting to develop. In fact, a lot of the southerly flow keeping us pretty warm, pretty interesting temperature spread over the last 24 hours. Went down from those 60s, and then we dealt back and forth with those 50s across the entire evening, then dropping down into those 40s. Back up into those 60s today, and tomorrow looking very similar. Now, we'll see if we'll get up to those 70s, but a lot of this cloud cover keeping us from getting into those final 70s, keeping us pretty warm across the entire area. Humidity definitely up, 65 in San Angelo. Everybody else joining us in a combination really in those mid-60s, and we get a good look outside. We still definitely seeing a little bit of a dry spot right there down to the southeast, but only about a degree or two across the entire region. Again, the southerly flow with this cloud cover really pushing through to the east, keeping things pretty uniformly the same temperature. Again, this is a pretty wide swath of southerly flow continuing to make its way across the entire Concho Valley, taking its sweet time to really continue to push across the region. It's supposed to blow up as it continues to move east. Again, looking at those humidity values, or at least the moisture in the atmosphere, dew points in the 40s, indices in the 40s, and that's where we're going to stay for throughout the rest of the night. Could see them jump up a little bit, but by tomorrow, looking like a drier day, a little partly cloudy in those sunny conditions. And then by the weekend, that's when we could see the return of more of this moisture. Again, moisture tracker really showing you where the frontal system is going to push off to the east, but by the weekend, we're seeing the return of some of that Gulf Coast moisture really make its way into the southern part of the Concho Valley. That could lead to some spotty showers, but I think we're going to continue to deal with some low clouds. This is the trough that we're talking about as it continues to deepen and push off to the east. This is a pretty interesting formation, looking like it could pull down some cooler air, but it's really going to keep us in those 60s, believe it or not, before it starts to push off to the east, still dealing with a lot of that circulation. Right now, this storm absolutely blowing up as it continues to push across the entire east coast. And again, seeing that second formation off the west coast, this is going to be the next big weather maker making its way in off the coast. This is already dumping about 9 feet of snow across the entire Rocky Mountains as this monster storm continues to move off to the east. Pretty dynamic setup right now. Now, we're still dealing with a lot of these clouds, seeing the break in some of these clouds as we continue to make our way towards the evening. But again, looking off to the west where we could see the return of some of these clouds, the radar kind of showing you how it's trying to develop as it pushes further east, but really steering clear of a lot of these low clouds right now. The Futurecast is going to show you how we're going to deal with some on-off cloud cover throughout the rest of the day. Again, clearing out by Thursday for a much more beautiful day, but then finding a quick return, and then we're going to see a pretty interesting formation. Again, that southerly flow producing a good stream of those clouds before it pushes off, and then we see the return of some of that Gulf Coast moisture by about Friday, and that'll be kind of the case as we could see a few spotty showers push into the region. Again, still dealing with it all weekend, but those temperatures going to be pretty cooperative as we make our way in through the rest of the weekend. So tonight, dropping back down into those 40s, that cloud cover keeping us warm. Then tomorrow, we'll see if we get into those 70s with that cloud cover, but again, that southerly flow really taking over. And then that's going to be the case the entire rest of the week, well into that weekend. And can't believe it's already Wednesday as we continue to find ourselves still dealing with those 70s, but by about Sunday, that's when we can see those temperatures drop by about good 12 degrees back down to those 50s before we begin another gradual warm-up. Stay tuned, more for the break. You're watching KSAN News at 5.
Texas Bourbon.